Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture series of Computer Organization and Advanced Microprocessors. In today's lecture, we are going to learn about the different mapping techniques, mapping between the cache and the main memory. So let's get started. So let's see that what is mapping. We know that the cache mapping is actually a technique that defines that how contents of the main memory are brought into the cache, right? So basically we know that the cache is comparatively smaller in the size compared to the main memory. So because when processor work with the data remains in the cache memory. So first we need to bring the data from main to the cache memory, right? So how to bring all this data into the cache, and what will happen when suppose cache is full, and how the cache will know that this particular data is coming from this location and this is the data. So all this thing will cover in the mapping. So what is cache mapping? So cache mapping is nothing but the technique. What is it? It's a technique, and that defines that how contents of main memory are brought into the cache memory, right? So let's see different memory mapping technique. Before we start with the different mapping technique, here you can see that here we have a cache memory and here we have a main memory, right? And okay, let first drop this. Okay, so here we have a cache memory and here we have a main memory. Now if you notice that in a cache memory we have index, then we have tag, and then we have a data. And in main memory we have data column and the index column. Now what happens when you transfer the data content from main memory to the cache memory? It brings some other information, like we have to take index as well as data as well as the index. See this example. So here there is in a cache memory there is a data ABC. Okay, so fine, this ABC is from this location ABC. This ABC's index is 2. Fine. So in cache the index of main becomes the tag. So this is the tag. Tag defines, or a tag tells you that this is the index of the main memory. This is the index of the main memory, right? And this index is itself of the cache memory. So similar case for the second data, that here we have the XYZ. This XYZ comes from this location XYZ. This data has 0 index, so it becomes tag over here, and this is cache index. So this is how mapping normally done. This is the concept of the cache mapping. So very first, to perform the mapping technique, first we need to divide the memory into the blocks. So here we have our main memory, and this is our cache memory, right? And main memory, all the blocks, all the sections, we call them the blocks, and in cache we call them the lines. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 lines, and here 5 lines we have, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 blocks we have. So total 10 blocks and total 5 lines. So divide the main memory into blocks, and the size of a block is equal to the size of the cache line. What is the meaning of this? This we will see in the next slide. One important point you need to remember is the one word is equal to the one byte, that we will see in the next slide. So this is how you can divide the main memory in the cache. So here you can observe that here we have blocks. this is our main memory, and this is our cache memory, which has lines, right? Now over here, as you can notice, that total 0 to 15 means total 16 blocks we have, right? Total 16 blocks we have, total 16 blocks we have, and each block size is a 4 word. See, um, 1 word, 2, 3 and 4 means the size of one block is a 4 word or 4 bytes. So total 16 blocks we have, it means total 16 blocks we have means the total capacity of this main memory is 64 words, means we can store the total 64 words. Now because we have 16 blocks, here we can store 16 words, 16 words, and so based on that total number of blocks and total number of word capacity, so based on that we need to divide this into lines. So block number of the main memory. So if you see, okay, see this, so here we have 12, right? So what is this? This is the 12th block, means I'm talking about this, means all this data, all these words can reside at this location, not at the same time. Of course we need mapping, we need replacement thing, but this block contains the this thing, so this way, right? This is, so this is how actually we divide the blocks and the lines and we do the mapping. Okay, so as we have already seen the previous slide, in the previous slide we have already seen that how to divide the memory blocks, right? So main memory is 64 words, right? 64 words were there. See, here we have total 64 words. So the size of the main memory is a 64 words. So if a block contains 4 words, yes, we can see that it contains 4 words, right? 4 words in a single block and 4 words. So then the number of blocks in the main memory can be calculated like this. So how to calculate it? So the number of blocks in the main memory, it's easy, right? It's very easy. Number of blocks in the main memory means 64 divided by 4. So we got the 16 blocks. Yes, see, here we have 0 to 16 means total 16 blocks we have. That means we have 16 blocks. How many? 16 blocks in main memory, right? And each block has 4 words in it. So this we can see in the diagram. So this way you can divide and calculate the blocks and the size. Now let's talk about the cache memory. Let's talk about the cache memory, that how to divide the cache memory into blocks. So we know in a previous slide that main memory contains 4 words, right? In each block there are 4 words in one block. So how to do that? The total lines in cache is 4, and so 4 words multiplied by 4 lines, so we got the 16 size. So here we have total 16 word capacity in the cache, right? So if a line contains 4 words, as we can see that this line contains total 4 words, then the number of line in the cache can be calculated like this. So number of lines in the cache memory is 16. What is 16? Total words divided by 4, that is the this, and total 4 lines we need in cache memory. So that means that we have a 4 lines, yes, 4 lines in the cache memory, and each line has a 4 words in it. So this is how we can divide the cache memory into blocks. So now let's see that what is different types of memory mapping. So first, what is memory mapping? So the transformation of the data from main memory to the cache memory. So when we bring the data from the main memory to the cache, we call it a mapping. And there are three main mapping types. Three main types for the mapping. The first one is associative mapping, the second is direct mapping, and the third is the set associative mapping. Now let's see each one by one. Now let's start with the first mapping technique, that is the associative mapping technique. The very first is the associative mapping. So what is the core of the associative mapping is that any block can be in any block frame of cache memory. Means what? That see, here we have a main memory, right, and here we have a cache memory. There is no any rule that this block can be shifted over this place only or in this line only. So any block can be in any block frame of cache memory. So if we want to give some name, or so we can say it's like a random, right, randomly any block. Suppose first time this block is coming over here, second time this block is coming over here, suppose one time some other block is coming over here. So any way we can shift. So the main point of the associative mapping is that any block can be in any block of cache memory. So there is no any rule for the mapping. So of course, because any block can shift in any block, so of course it is more fast and flexible as well, right, because there is no any rule to be followed. Uses associative memory organization. This is the name of the organization, that associative mapping uses the associative memory organization. When a request comes for a block, all the entries are compared simultaneously to determine if the requested block is present or not. What happens? Suppose there is, um, okay, let's say here we have a processor, right? And processor first go to the cache. It will check when a request comes for a block. So suppose processor is requesting, all the entries are compared. So all the entries will be compared simultaneously to determine if the requested block is present or not. Suppose it is present, then fine, but suppose it is not present, then it will go to the main memory, it will search for that, and then it will come back over here, right? So of course it is a longer access time. So this is about the associative mapping. Few points you need to keep in mind is it's a random thing, means any block. This is the main important point. This is the main important point. So there is no any specific rule for that. It's a random. Any block can be shifted to any line in the cache. So after the associative mapping, here we have direct mapping. If you remember this slide, remember this when we discussed that 12 block, all the words of the 12 block will reside in this. So this is the concept of the direct mapping, where block n, let's say here my n is equal to 12, this 12, right, n of main memory maps into the block frame or the line number of n. So because here we have a 12, so this block frame, this is the 12, so of the cache memory. So we cannot shift this 12 to somewhere else. No, we have to shift this 12 to this block frame only. And this is the concept of the direct mapping. Means each n block of the main memory is associated with the n block frame of the cache memory. So if you see in this diagram, here we have 1 2 3 different blocks we line we have, and each is associated with, means if I want to shift 0, then it has to go this. If I want to shift 0, then it has to go to this 0. If I want to shift 8, this way. If I want to shift 8 12, then this. Means if you want to map 0 4 8 or a 12, all these 4 blocks have to map to the 0th line, right? Similar way, let's say I want to map, let's say 1. So 1 will definitely go to the 1, then 5, then 9, and then 13, right? All these blocks will go to the 1. Let's say 3 will go to the 2, then 6, then 10, and then 14. So this way each block is associated with the particular block frame of the block frame of the cache. So this is the concept of the direct mapping. Of course, this is the simple technique because no any complications or no any other thing. But yes, there is a disadvantage. There is a one disadvantage. What is that? Disadvantage is that two words two words with the same indexed address cannot reside in cache memory at the same time, right? How? See, here let's understand this with this example. See, here we have 12, right? Here we are talking about this diagram. Here we have the 12 block, and this 12 block contains 48, 49, 50, and 51. It means what? That in cache means at this location, 12th location, either it can store the 48 or 49 or 50 or 51. Means at the same time they cannot reside at the same time. Suppose processor requires both these two items. In that case, they cannot reside, or they can processor cannot use both the words at the same time, because they both, or this all four, have only single place to reside, right? And so this is the disadvantage of the direct mapping technique. So the last mapping technique is a set associative mapping. So as we have just seen the problem with the direct mapping technique, right? So to solve that problem of the direct mapping, here we have a concept of the set associative mapping. Okay, now let's see the diagram first. Now we know, right, that this is the main memory, this is cache memory, here we have blocks, and here we have lines. Now the concept or the idea of the set associative mapping is that here we create set of one, more than two or more lines. So here in example we have set of 2 lines, right? So here we can create the set. It depends on the size of the cache and the size of the main, that how many lines we consider as a set. So now what happens in this case, we can store 2 or more words, because now we have a more than one line, so we can store 2 or more words of the memory under the same index, right? Because see, suppose I'm saying that I want to store this block 0 and block 256 and 151 551 and 768, but all can set in set 0, all can map to set 0, because it might be possible that suppose there is no set. In that case, block 0 is already there, and suppose 256 also wants to go there. So but it cannot mapped. The reason is there is no space. So here what we are doing, depending on the size of the cache and the requirement, we create sets, and this sets contains more than more than two lines, greater than two lines. So more than two lines we combine and we call it set. So of course here we have a index, then tag, right? It will have tag and the index for each memory block. So it's very easy that in set associative mapping, what we do, we create the set of more than two lines, and we can shift two or more words of memory onto the same index address. So this is about the set associative mapping. Okay, so it was all about the mapping techniques and different types of the mapping. What is mapping? Everything we have seen. So happy learning. Thank you.